Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving right into a seriously fascinating story of self-discovery, destiny, and some incredibly ancient myths. We're breaking down the journey of Princess Lyra of Asteria, specifically looking at her character growth and this really undeniable, mysterious connection she has to a world of forgotten dragon legends. If you've ever felt that quiet little pull toward a greater destiny, you're going to absolutely love the themes we're looking at today.
I'll find you one day. That single line, whispered by Princess Lyra to a completely empty sky from the highest balcony of her palace right before dawn, yeah, that's exactly where our journey kicks off. It's such a brilliant hook because it instantly establishes this deep, deep longing. I mean, picture it. She's looking out over the endless emerald forest stretching toward these distant mountains, and she just utters those words. But who, or honestly, what is she looking for? Is she talking to some mythical creature, or is she talking to her own looming destiny? Well, that is the central mystery we are cracking wide open today.
All right, let's jump straight into part one, the Stardust Dragon Dreams.
So to really get Lyra, we have to start at the absolute beginning of her arc. We need to focus on these slow, contemplative, and just totally ethereal dreams she's been having since she was literally 5 years old. And you've got to notice how every single one of these dreams starts the exact same way. Lyra is standing all alone on a mountaintop, underneath a sky packed with silver moons. Then, this magnificent white dragon descends, covered in scales shimmering like polished pearls. And right here, this is a massive flip on typical dragon lore. Instead of the giant, aggressive, fire-breathing monsters we usually get in fantasy, this dragon breathes glowing stardust. It doesn't scorch the earth, it actually transforms it, creating these beautiful, sprawling forests of silver trees. It completely subverts expectations, telling us right away that Lyra's subconscious and her ultimate destiny are tied to creation, not destruction.
But honestly, it's not just what goes down in the dream itself, it's the aftermath. The dragon never actually speaks to her. It just looks at her with these ancient golden eyes and then vanishes. But every single morning, without fail, she wakes up with this exact lingering feeling. Someone was waiting for her. Just think about how universally relatable that is. I mean, strip away the magic and the dragons, and this is fundamentally about that quiet, persistent call we all feel sometimes. You know, that search for purpose and the gut feeling that there's a specific role you're meant to play in the grand scheme of things.
Moving on to part two, a perfect but incomplete life.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the crazy juxtaposition between her perfect outer life and the internal void she's wrestling with. So fast forward to her waking reality at 21. On paper, her external persona is absolutely flawless. She is the pride of Asteria, admired for her brains, respected for her courage, loved for her kindness. She's incredibly capable, too. She's out there training with swords alongside the royal guards, studying hardcore history with scholars. She's got it all. But her internal reality, it's a completely different story. Despite having literally everything, she feels fundamentally incomplete. She's constantly slipping away from palace life just to secretly wander the forests. Ultimately, she's a woman just waiting for an unknown destiny to finally show up.
Which brings us to our third section, the storyteller's silver catalyst.
Okay, so this is the real narrative catalyst. This is the exact moment where her dreamy internal world and her highly structured waking reality crash right into each other, during Asteria's annual Festival of the Seven Moons. During the festival, Lyra sneaks away in this simple blue cloak so she can just walk normally among her people. And she runs into this old storyteller in the marketplace. He's rambling on about how dragons are supposedly gone forever, but then he drops this incredibly powerful line. Legends rarely die. They simply wait for someone brave enough to believe them again. This is huge, because it frames belief as an active choice. For Lyra, actively believing in the impossible is the absolutely crucial first step to unlocking her true potential. The magic didn't just vanish. It's just been sitting there, waiting for a willing participant. And just look at how brilliantly the author weaves the foreshadowing from Lyra's subconscious straight into her daily life. The sky of silver moons from her childhood dreams perfectly mirrors the waking world's festival of the seven moons. The white dragon from the mountaintop, well, that manifests as a physical, glowing silver feather. And that lingering, haunting feeling of awaiting presence is actually spoken out loud by the storyteller, who flat out declares, the dreamer has finally come. We are quite literally watching her dreams bleed right into reality in real time. And from there, the interaction just skyrockets. At first, it just feels like a whimsical local tale, right? But then the storyteller meets Lyra's eyes and his whole demeanor shifts from warm to outright terrified. Second, he whispers that the dreamer has arrived. And then comes the defining moment. He reaches into his satchel and hands her this tiny silver feather, claiming it actually belonged to a dragon. When Lyra pushes back, pointing out that dragons disappeared centuries ago, he just replies that they only disappeared from the eyes of those who stopped believing. And right there, right in the palm of her hand, the feather starts to faintly glow. This is it. This is the exact second the story rips away from a harmless fairy tale and becomes a frightening, incredibly tangible reality.
All right, Section 4, When Legends Become Reality.
And let me tell you, that shift brings immediate, terrifying consequences. The kinetic energy from here on out is just relentless. Minute 1, the storyteller drops the warning. They're coming sooner than I feared. Minute 2, the feather glows, and this freezing cold wind suddenly sweeps the marketplace. Minute 3, every single lantern flickers, and the storyteller just vanishes into the crowd. Fast forward a few hours. Hour 3, a violent storm engulfs the palace, lightning splits the sky, thunder is literally shaking the ancient walls. Hour 4, Lyra, up on the highest tower, spots a single beam of silver light illuminating these enormous dragon wings. And Hour 5, a deafening roar echoes, palace bells start ringing, and soldiers are scrambling into the courtyard. The kingdom goes from this joyous festival to absolute horrifying chaos in just hours. In the middle of all this, the captain of the royal guard rushes up to Lyra with devastating news. Their northern watchtower has completely fallen. And when she asks what on earth could have destroyed it, the terrified captain says the survivors only spoke one single word: shadows. And guys, this isn't some poetic metaphor. This is an ancient, terrifying force capable of wiping out a fortified tower and plunging the entire kingdom into literal darkness. The sheer terror of this enemy is perfectly captured when, right as the captain says the word shadows, every single candle in the palace blows out at once, just pitch black. Asteria is completely swallowed by the dark. The stakes literally could not be higher. Which leads us to our final section, embracing her dragon destiny. But even in that terrifying, suffocating darkness, there's still a spark of hope. And this is the culmination of our entire narrative arc. From somewhere deep within the Emerald Forest, a single dragon's cry pierces the night. It's not just thunder. It's something way older, and it is very much alive. And what does Lyra do? Lyra tightens her grip around the silver feather. For the first time in her entire life, the dream doesn't feel like a dream anymore. It has finally begun. This is the massive payoff for her character arc. She doesn't drop the feather. She doesn't run away from the dark. She tightens her grip. She's no longer just a passive dreamer standing on a balcony staring at the sky. She's finally crossed the threshold and become an active, completely empowered participant in the legend. So all of this leaves us with one final, totally burning question. Will Lyra's newfound belief actually be enough to save Asteria from the shadows? The Stardust Dragon from her childhood dreams has finally awakened, right as the absolute worst darkness has fallen. It is such a breathtaking setup, perfectly balancing the sheer terror of the unknown with the thrilling realization of a lifelong destiny. What do you think is going to happen when the creator of this silver forest finally clashes with the bringers of absolute darkness? Thank you so much for exploring this incredible explainer with me today.